She affiliated with an explicitly Marxist organization that called for a working class revolution and abolishing both the police and ICE. She financially supported a radical far-left candidate that said that Republicans were, quote, siding with the devil. And she repeatedly misled this committee about her past. That contrast tells a story. The Biden administration tried to place a radical Marxist ideologue on the Sixth Circuit, a nomination that Republicans rightly stopped. And now under President Trump, we are restoring judges who respect the Constitution and the rule of law to the bench.
Welcome back to Right View Nation, the home of bold truth, unapologetic patriotism, and the relentless defense of our Constitution. I hope you're sitting down, America, because what I just witnessed in the Senate Judiciary Committee is nothing short of a breath of fresh air in an era of judicial insanity. Today, we're talking about something that doesn't happen nearly enough anymore: a qualified, grounded, constitutional conservative being put forward to serve this nation from the bench. I'm talking about President Trump's appellate court nominee, Miss Hermandorfer. And folks, this woman is exactly what our broken judicial system needs. Let me break it down for you. You see, in an America where the left has been hellbent on stacking the courts with radical Marxist ideologues, finally, we are seeing someone who actually believes in the Constitution. Not the living, breathing, make-it-up-as-you-go version the Democrats love, but the real deal. The version written by our founding fathers to protect our liberties and limit government power. Senator Ted Cruz laid it out perfectly. The Biden administration tried to shove through a nominee, Carla Campbell, who wasn't just liberal, folks, she was full-blown radical. She aligned herself with Marxist organizations that call for abolishing the police and ICE. She supported candidates who literally said Republicans are siding with the devil. That's not liberalism, that's lunacy. Thank God Republicans blocked her. And thank God President Trump is putting forward people like Miss Hermandorfer instead. Let's talk about this woman's resume.
Service, not just to Tennessee, but for the nation. And I want to thank you for it. Senator Cruz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Hermandorfer, congratulations, welcome. I am thrilled that you are seated here before the committee. You are the very first appellate court nominee put forth by President Trump in this new administration. And it's symbolic that the seat you've been nominated to fill is the same one Democrats tried to hand the nomination to a woman named Carla Campbell, Carla with a K, in the Biden administration. I'm glad that Republicans on this committee stood firm and stopped Ms. Campbell's confirmation. She had a deeply troubling record. She affiliated with an explicitly Marxist organization that called for a working class revolution and abolishing both the police and ICE. She financially supported a radical far-left candidate that said that Republicans were, quote, siding with the devil. And she repeatedly misled this committee about her past. That contrast tells a story. The Biden administration tried to place a radical Marxist ideologue on the Sixth Circuit, a nomination that Republicans rightly stopped. And now under President Trump, we are restoring judges who respect the Constitution and the rule of law to the bench. Ms. Hermandorfer, your academic record is extremely impressive. You've clerked for not one, not two, but 3 Supreme Court justices, then Judge Kavanaugh, Justice Alito, Justice Barrett. Now, I would note the chairman clerked for 1 Supreme Court justice, Senator Lee clerked for 1 Supreme Court justice, and I clerked for 1 Supreme Court justice. For the record, I'm going to say I'm pissed that you clerked for 3. And I may have to filibuster your nomination because of it.
I hope not.
But tell us what you learned clerking for those 3 jurists.
So I've taken so many lessons from those jurists. That the role of the judge is to carefully listen to all parties and carefully deliberate with respect to all cases that come before him or her. and to treat colleagues and litigants with respect, and to understand that you can disagree about the law without being disagreeable. I think the most important lesson, though, Senator Cruz, I learned is that in our system, judges are intentionally insulated from political accountability precisely because they're going to issue rulings sometimes that some segments of the public or the majority may not agree with. And that's not always a pleasant task, but it's necessary to preserve our system. And so too, it's necessary that judges have backbone and grit and courage in carrying out their obligations under Article 3. And so those are attributes that I witnessed and that I would try to take with me to the best of my abilities were I fortunate enough to be confirmed.
So you also were a star basketball player at my alma mater at Princeton.
Star might be a little strong, Senator.
You were captain of the team. Tell us what you learned about playing competitive basketball at the collegiate level.
I mean, my basketball journey started when I was very young, and my poor parents who are here, drove me around probably to every gym in Tennessee so I could pursue my dreams of playing college sports. There's nothing like having to wake up early at 5 a.m. in the snow and go down to the weight room to instill self-discipline and grit. And I've carried those lessons and the work ethic with me, and I've been knocked down many times, both on the court and off. And I learned that it's really about how you carry yourself, and your attitude and your effort can get you through even when you're facing challenges. And I guess lastly, I would say playing basketball, I had the pleasure of getting to know girls from all walks of life, from all over the state, all over the country. And so getting along with folks from different backgrounds and who have different perspectives is something I have experience with and would also try to take with me.
Talk to us about the First Amendment and the importance of the First Amendment.
Without sounding trite, it's the First Amendment for a reason. It protects both, the five main freedoms, the free exercise of religion. There's also the Establishment Clause, of course. Freedom of the press, freedom to petition the government when you want to change a law, freedom to assemble, and I can't remember if I said 4 or 5, but the importance of that is that in our system, the people have the power to express their deeply held views and to try to make political change. And it's not up to the government to stifle any views that it deems heterodox or unorthodox. It is to protect the will of the people as they express it in their public announcements.
Thank you, Professor. Senator Schiff.
She clerked for 3 Supreme Court justices, Kavanaugh, Alito, and Barrett. Let me tell you something. You don't get those clerkships by accident. That's the judicial version of a Navy SEAL trifecta. Compare that to Biden's nominees, who tend to have more activist credentials than courtroom experience. They come to the bench to legislate from it. Miss Hermandorfer comes to the bench to interpret the law, as it is written. That's what a judge is supposed to do. Period. And when Senator Cruz joked that he may have to filibuster her nomination because she clerked for more justices than him, that wasn't just humor. It was recognition that this woman is playing in the big leagues, and she's ready. What really struck me, folks, was when she talked about the courage judges need. She said something so powerful, that judges are intentionally insulated from political pressure so they can make the hard decisions. She knows, and admits, that her job might mean making rulings the public doesn't always like. That, my friends, is the kind of spine we need on the federal bench. Not judges who are puppets of political parties. Not judges who care more about Twitter than the 10th Amendment, but judges who will stand on principle, even when it's uncomfortable. She understands that protecting the Constitution sometimes means pushing back against the mob. That's real leadership. And just when I thought I couldn't respect her more, we find out she was a college basketball captain at Princeton. That's right, she didn't just crush it in the courtroom, she crushed it on the court. She talked about waking up at 5 a.m., driving through snow, lifting weights, and how those early lessons in discipline and toughness shaped her entire life. How many people sitting on the bench today can say they've earned their grit? Not many. But she can. She's been knocked down, and she's gotten right back up. That's what makes a great judge. And frankly, that's what makes a great American. When Senator Cruz asked her about the First Amendment, her response should be required listening for every law student in America. She nailed it. She didn't just recite the freedoms like a school textbook. She explained the deeper meaning, that in our system, the government doesn't get to silence you just because it doesn't like your views, that the people have the power to petition, speak, assemble, worship, and publish, even when the elites want them silenced. She's not just quoting the Bill of Rights. She believes it. She lives it. And she's ready to defend it from the bench. Folks, here's the bottom line. Elections have consequences, and judicial appointments might be the most important one. Judges serve for life. They interpret the laws that impact your family, your business, your children's education, your gun rights, your religious liberty, and so much more. We've seen what happens when the radicals get their hands on the courts. Chaos, ideological rulings, decisions that trample over parental rights, criminal justice, and free speech. But when we appoint people like Miss Hermandorfer, we see something rare. We see hope. We see a judiciary grounded in reason, not rage. In the rule of law, not the rule of woke. So I say this to every patriotic American watching right now. This is the fight we need to be engaged in. Not just at the ballot box, but in the confirmation process, in the courtroom, and in the culture. Because the left isn't backing down. And neither should we. If you believe in the Constitution, if you believe in law and order, if you believe in real justice, not mob justice, then hit that like button, subscribe to Right View Nation, and share this video with every liberty-loving patriot you know. Because the fight for America's soul isn't over. But with judges like this, we're still in the game. God bless you. God bless our Constitution. And God bless the United States of America.